Okay.
Here we go. MIC crazy. What I'm about to say. Sunshine T's here. You can take a break. I'm a hop and balloon. I can fly real high in the air like a goat bear. Let me tell you why. Donkey Kong, clap along if you feel like a coconut without the shell. Donkey Kong, he's the leader of the bunch. You know him well. Donkey Kong, he's back again, and about time too. Donkey Kong, clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do. Here comes DK, having lots of fun. Yeah, if he shoots you with his coconut gun. Yeah, well, I should probably warn ya, it's gonna hurt. Yeah, no offense to you, but if I ask this first, oh yeah, Donkey Kong, clap along if you wanna join in with the monkey rap. Donkey Kong, rap along if you know the words, but you don't know how to clap. Donkey Kong, he is the leader of the DK crew. Donkey Kong, clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do. Come on, Donkey Kong, coconut. Donkey Kong, he can't jump high. Donkey Kong, has a coconut gun. Donkey Kong, take it to the bridge. Walnuts, Donkey nuts, out of his head. Coconut break, Donkey Kong, he's a hell of a guy. Walnuts, Donkey nuts, out of his head. Coconut gun, Donkey Kong, take it to the bridge. Clap along if you feel like a coconut without the shell. Donkey Kong, he's the leader of the bunch. You know him well. Donkey Kong, he's back again, and about time too. Donkey Kong, clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do. Donkey Kong, clap along if you wanna join in with the monkey rap. Donkey Kong, rap along if you know the words, but you don't know how to clap. Donkey Kong, he is the leader of the DK crew. Donkey Kong, clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do. Come on.
What is going on the internet? How's it going? This is Josh, famously of the bonus stage van. I am joined by none other than Nikola Whallon, and we are celebrating your latest release. Nikola, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm good. It's Seattle, it's raining. Everything is as it's supposed to be.
All things in their place. Awesome. Well, just a couple of kilometers north here. We measure in kilometers up here.
What is a kilometer? Oh,
but yeah, it's been a really nice day up here, man. So I don't know, the bad weather just missed us. But yeah, dude, I mean, we've got a sunny celebration ahead, a sunny celebration of chiptune, violin, Balkan influences, everything. Dude, this new album is absolutely incredible. And it's been coming for a while too, hasn't it?
yep. I think the oldest track on the album I wrote 10 years ago. So it's been a long work in progress.
Oh man. Yeah, well, I mean, like 8 tracks. What's been like the biggest hurdle to getting this out? I mean, if something came to you like 10 years ago, like how did 10 years pass, and now we're here?
Yeah, so sitting down and recording, that's basically it. Especially because I wanted the release to have the live instruments and not just the Game Boy parts. 10 years ago, I never had recorded any live instruments before at all, and I only really started recording live instruments 4 years ago. And so eventually I was like, okay, I should finally actually record these songs. to be fair, I have been playing them live for a while because I'm comfortable doing that. It's just the recording part that I didn't, sit down and do. And then one day I did.
Nice. So you recorded all the live instruments completely yourself?
Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so we've got, in terms of live instruments, we've got violin, we've got electric guitar. You had another instrument there that I think you wanted to show off that is going to be featured in another track. Do you want to show and tell that now, or when we get to the song?
I will show and tell it when we get to the song. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, let me know. Don't let me miss that because that's really cool. I love exotic instruments, showing them off and talking about them. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is like you said, you've been doing this live for a while. What's that been like? Like, how many years have you been doing these tracks live?
Um. Now, for about 10 years, every time I wrote a new one, it would go into rotation. So I started playing live music with Pico Pico Detroit, which was a collective of chiptuners from Michigan. Um, and it was really cool for a number of years and then kind of fizzled out. And that's kind of how these things work, and it's totally normal and fine. But then, I played at minor stages at places like MagFest, not main stage or anything, and other cons. And that was always fun. I myself moved around a lot, so when I was in the Bay Area, I would also play with the 8-bit SF people at some of their shows. And I actually lived in Europe for a year and a half and managed to score some gigs there, which was amazing. So yeah, here and there.
Yeah. You're getting around, getting all over the map with your Chiprock Houseparty. Yeah, dude, it's a great album. You played it live, I think all of it, at the last bonus stage show, which was super exciting. But it's nice to sit down and digest the studio quality. And there was like some good production that went into this too.
The
I think
mixing is amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. You wanted to shout out the guy who helped you there,
Yeah.
or the person I can't remember. Sorry.
Matthew Mordon, and their stage name is Bubblegum Octopus, and they are amazing. And yeah, the mixing is, I couldn't believe that these songs sounded that good.
Yeah. It can't be easy to blend those chiptune sounds with live instruments. That's definitely a feat. What is going on in chat there, Delicious Nick? Yeah, Birthday played with you in an 8-bit SF night, right?
That sounds right. Yeah, no, we did. Yeah, actually, I think I've played with Birthday more than once. At DNA Lounges, yes.
Yeah,
that's
that
right.
sounds like the place. Awesome. Yeah, well, thanks for tuning in, Nick. Nice to have you here. Yeah, dude, the whole album is really good. We're gonna listen to it in a couple of chunks here. We're gonna start with the first two tracks. Anything you'd care to preface this first little offering with?
No, let's just dive in, and if there are things to say, we can chat briefly, in a few minutes.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Well, to kick things off here, this is track 1 off of Nikola Whallon's Chiprock Houseparty. This is Rock Boy. Enjoy. Dang, dude, that is a strong start. That first track has got you like totally bumping and rocking out in your safe zone, and then the second track is like, whoa, no, you're gonna start moving your hips now. You're gonna start kind of getting some wave into your spine here. Yeah, absolutely. Uh, claps in chat for the opening two tracks of Nikola Whallon's new album. Everybody, yeah, dude, and we were chatting a little bit backstage here about how that second track reminds me a little bit of Secret Chiefs 3. Anybody else in chat who knows that group, give some fire emotes because that is a really cool project. But yeah, dude, that's really awesome. What I'm trying to like lead with a question here, but what do you want to say about either of those?
I don't know. Let's think. So Rock Boy actually made it into a mobile game for a while, which is cool. Called Toxic Surfer is the name of the game. It's probably still on the Google Play Store. I know it's not on the Apple Store anymore because Apple charges you $100 per year to have anything on. So the people who developed the game were just like, nah, this is just a hobby thing. Which is reasonable. I used to have games on the Apple Store, but again, I don't want to pay them money. So
Yeah.
One day again, I'll put something there. So yeah, surf rock inspired and stuff. And then harmonic hips. Let's think. The name of the song came from the fact that when I play that kind of music live, I move my hips a lot. I don't know if you've seen it, you know what I mean. Otherwise, I'm not going to demonstrate at the moment. But yeah, it's Balkan inspired more or less, and people say, "Oh, it sounds like X, Y, or Z," and it does. But technically, where I get my inspiration is Balkan music. So, which we'll talk about more later, I'm sure, because there are other tracks that have similar influences. Yeah, that's more or less what I would say about them. I like them a lot.
Yeah, I like them too, and it sounds like most of the people in chat also like them. What's going on? There is no easy mode. Welcome, happy to have you here. And yes, Jummel TV. That Rock Boy is a reference to Rockman, as we were also saying backstage, Nicola.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Kind of a portmanteau of Rockman and Game Boy. Awesome. Well,
you just need Game Man.
Game Man, yes. Well, they had a Game Girl back in the day too, didn't they? Like, I mean, just like the Pink Tax, just
right.
Yeah.
I'm not. That sounds. I have to look that up now because I also collect Game Boys. So if there was a Game Girl, I'm gonna have to track that down.
Yeah, it might have been a limited release. What's going on, Luke Mile 2? Thanks for being here. Yeah, well, as you were saying earlier, you sometimes put some of your tracks into games, but you also program games. And one of the things that I've enjoyed is how you almost like for every release that you're involved in, you seem to have like some kind of small game or something that you've put together. And for this next block of tracks that we're going to listen to, you're actually going to be showcasing one of the games that you've developed.
Yep.
And sorry, refresh me on the name of this game again.
I have to remember it myself because I went back and forth on several names, but I think it's a Bitboat Bash.
Bitboat Bash. Okay, yeah, I love the use of alliteration. But it's pretty fun. Yeah, you're just kind of like controlling a boat and running along and collecting things and stuff like that. And if anybody wants to play it, gosh, where I had the URL. I'll drop the URL in chat once we get to listening here. But it's there to play. It's fully functional, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I should say the art is done by Drip. Her artist name is Drip. And she's amazing. People in the chiptune scene probably all know her, and she's amazing. Her art is amazing. So if you want to know more, ping me.
Definitely. Okay. Well, then, yeah, why don't we get into our next block, beginning with Slime Time. Enjoy, folks. Yeah, dude, I wanna move my my harmonic hips, my Balkan hips, as Jamal TV so eloquently put it. Oh, dude, like something about that mode, it just kind of gets you right there, right in like the center. What do they call that? The Mahutra Bandha in yoga. That central muscle, the root chakra. Oh man, hits you strong there. Yeah, well that was three tracks. We had Slime Time, we had Balkan Blip, and Tipsy Chip. there's like a bit of a rhyming scheme going on here with some of your track titles. I love it, dude.
Yeah, yeah, and those two back to back are kind of similar. I mean, you heard maybe that they both use the violin with nice heavy distortion, and they're both in 7/8 time, which is a popular time in Balkan music and other music. But I really like it, and not many people use it. But it's a cool time signature, 7/8. Highly recommend you try it out.
Yeah, gosh, and more odd meters in music generally, please. That's yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, dude, and that was a really cool. Like you programmed that game all entirely yourself, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's so cool. So yeah, so folks, if you want to play that, I think I dropped the link in chat earlier. There it is again. Go play Bitboat Bash, and again, this is like total respect because you've done lots of these kinds of things. I think you even did one for like Runaway 4 when we released our album. Uh, you had one for the Glitchkabits, the Star Shtetl. That one was really cool. Yeah, and just like the fact that you just keep doing it, it seems really cool, like a nice little passion project to go
Yeah,
with
I
with the
have.
music.
I'll say that I have two more in the works. Games which I know are going to accompany future albums. So yeah, and if you play the Bitboat Bash on the site there, you'll hear that the soundtrack is several tracks from Chiprock Houseparty, but the DMG versions of them, so the Game Boy only versions of them, no live instruments, just to better match the retro aesthetic. Um, yeah, so I decided at some point to cheat. I was like, I want to write music for games, but that seems really hard. Maybe I should just make the game, and then I can make the music for the game, and then I can say that I write music for game, right?
Yeah,
Right?
no, that's technically correct. The best kind of correct, isn't that right, Moo Man? Yeah, dude, and why not? And then like, well, on top of that, also adding to your resume that you are actually a game designer and developer, right? Like you kind of become the full package there. Yeah, and we've actually had a few people on the show who've taken very similar approach. Yeah, it's totally valid and totally just full of merit, dude. Honestly, like I I'm not gonna touch gaming like development or programming or any of that kind of stuff. I'll stick to guitar and doing some streaming and stuff like that. But like, yeah, dude, like that's a whole nother level. So good on you for that. Yeah, we're ready to move on to our next section. We've got the last three tracks on this album. Yeah, you did mention also. I don't want to. I want to make sure that we let people know that that the DMG versions of the full album are also available on Bandcamp as part of the release, which is really cool. I love that you've included that. I'll make sure that people have that link fresh in chat for you here. Yeah, so head on over to Bandcamp. Is this being distributed to any other streaming platforms? You got a
Not yet. I'll figure it out.
yeah.
I always do Bandcamp first, and then I take a breather, and then a month later I'll submit to everywhere else. And then, the DistroKid and the SoundDrop and those types of services will take another month or two. So,
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, we're happy to have it here, and of course, Bandcamp is excellent about supporting artists. So definitely, folks, go and click on that link and grab the album today. Yeah, we're gonna get on with the last three tracks here. Coming up next, we've got Dragon Castle. Yeah, folks, we'll see you on the other side. Oh, I love I love the way that last track just fizzles out just at the end. A little like it sounded like you like unplugged the guitar and just like that's it, that's the take. Here we go, we're done.
I Now that you're saying it, that's probably exactly how I felt like when recording.
Oh no, no, that does sound pretty good. You just like
Yeah.
finally there it is. All right, well let's print
There's
this damn album.
it's catharsis, right? Catharsis. It's relief.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I think there's like two more songs.
Yeah,
Um,
Jumble TV. We've got some more. We've got some more stuff coming up. But before we get to that, because this is why we're here. We're talking about Chiprock Houseparty. And backstage, you were telling me that that the first song that we just listened to on this block, Dragon Castle, used to be a metal song. So tell me a little bit about your metal band that you had that this song was for.
yeah, so in high school and early college, I played in a few bands. I think only one of them ever got a gig, so that tells you how those went. Lots of great friends were made along the way, though, so that's good. One of them is, I think, in the chat. Yeah, Jumble TV. It has to be Sam. Dragon Castle was always called Dragon Castle. It had a different name.
Or is it like one of those like work in progress kind of things where it's like, oh, we'll call it this, but maybe someday down the road when we actually like get signed to a label, then we'll come up with a different name for it or something.
No, Sam, you might be right. It might have been called Dragon Boss Castle, and then I was like, okay, that's just too many words. I think that might be correct.
3 words, too many words. Sorry.
I wrote that for a metal band with whatever, 2 guitars, a bass, and drums or something. And an organ. It had an organ. That was the important part. And then, when I started the chiptune project, I started to quote-unquote port some of my older songs to the Game Boy, and that was a process. But actually, one thing I do a lot these days is I write music with notation software, basically writing sheet music because I feel comfortable with it, and then I transcribe it for the Game Boy. And I find that I write totally different music when I do that versus when I just pick up a Game Boy and start to write. So, and I like that process better. But, there are infinite number of processes and they're all valid, so I found one that I kind of like.
Nice. Is there like a, for instance, like on this album, did you find that you kind of used both processes? Like, is there a noticeable difference that you could point out between any tracks that have different processes in writing, anything like that?
On this particular release, almost all the tracks I either wrote out or I played on an instrument, like the whole track, and then went to transcribe it. On other releases that are not released, how do I put this? Lots of tracks that I have on my SoundCloud, I just grabbed the Game Boy or went into the DAW and made a song without playing it first on an instrument. And they're cool, but their flavor is totally different. Like, their melodies aren't as catchy, you can't sing them later. They're more dancey, though, so that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I like to diddle on my instruments and find melodies, so that's how it goes.
Yes, well, we all like to diddle on our instruments from time to time. Oh my god, sorry. You handed it to me on a silver platter there, Nikola.
Yes,
what can I say?
That was very good.
Oh my god. The diddler on the roof. Oh, there it is. There's the joke of the night. Oh, thanks, Papa Hoodwinker. That's gold right there. Oh man.
I know what I'm doing later tonight.
God. Okay. Somebody save us from interview hell. Yeah, folks, so that is Chiprock Houseparty in its I was about to say in its entirety, but it's not, because we are not going to be listening to the DMG only mixes. But if you want to check out the full album, there's the link in chat. Go check it out on Bandcamp there. Potentially to be released on streaming platforms at a later date. Yeah, but until then, that's the best place to go and support Nikola. Check out the music. You've got some other releases on there as well, of course. But we are not done for the night because since you've released this album, you have also released a few more songs. What are we going to start off with here? Are we going to get into some Balkan bleeps?
Yep. That's the next one.
That's the next one. Okay, so how does Balkan Bleeps differ from your own solo chiptune fusion stuff?
So in some sense it doesn't necessarily, but in another sense, after this Chiprock Houseparty album, which kind of does have a theme, also the name is derived from the fact that all of the first shows I played were house parties, and they were kind of the most fun shows. House parties are awesome.
Absolutely.
I decided, okay, well, what do I really want to do in chiptune? Do I want to do rock music? Do I want to do Balkan music? Do I want to do metal music? And so I picked one and went with it. And at the beginning of this year, January 1st, actually, is when I wrote Insomnia, which is the first single for Balkan Bleeps. And since then, just getting everything together, getting the art assets, doing the recording, getting the mixing, took time, as it does. And I think that I've found a nice way to write music for Balkan chiptune stuff, and it's a cool idea, and I think I'll continue it. So, yeah, I hope you all also think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, here's the first single from Balkan Bleeps. This is Insomnia. Dude, that is so cool. That is amazing. I love the use of microtones and like it actually got me like thinking like can you do microphones or microtones on DMG?
Um, yeah, you can because you can detune. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is that something that you had to do for this song or are you just kind of like no the saz is just not balanced with the rest of the instruments and that's the sound.
Um, so I just had the saws, well, mostly just for its solo. It was doing microtones, and it was the only one because I wanted it to stand out. And some people might have thought, "Oh, that note sounds wrong," and it's not. So
It's
yeah,
correct.
it's funky. I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. What's
If you
what's
want to
that?
see it, I've got it here.
Yeah, yeah, let's do show and tell. All right.
This is the instrument.
It's wacky. I mean, it's not wacky. It's perfectly normal. It's just, I'm a freaking white guy in British Columbia, Canada. That's really cool,
It's
though.
very cool.
Look at that
Yeah.
inlay. Oh my God.
Yeah, I thought that was insane. Why did they go through that much trouble? But it's beautiful, so And I don't know if you see the actual strings, but there are three sets of strings, and they're all paired. The middle two are the same, both D, and then on either side it's a G, and then an octave higher G, and an octave higher A. Um, so when you go from top to bottom, you're not going from lowest note to highest note, but you're also kind of not going from highest note to lowest note because of the way the octave strings work. It's mixed, which is fun because you can play a scale going up and then loop back down, and it kind of sounds like you're playing an infinite scale. And if you've heard those fun, I don't know what the word for it is, audio fun things that you can listen where the scale sounds like it goes up forever.
Right. Like
That's
the staircase in Super Mario 64.
yes. That's actually a very very reasonable example. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's cool stuff.
Yeah, really cool stuff. Yeah, dude. Okay. Well, what's coming up next for Balkan Bleeps? Do you have some more songs in mind for that project or
Yep.
other
I
stuff you're
have.
working on?
I've written 5 songs. It will take me forever to produce them, but
Another 10 years, yeah.
maybe not. Yeah, maybe 10 years. I want to release an EP by the end of the summer of 5 songs. All of them are actual Balkan songs. I didn't write this song. This song, I heard it first in Ivkova Slava, which is a Serbian movie, and technically, I guess maybe it's a Serbian song. The original title is Nesanica, which means insomnia, so hence insomnia. But yeah, for now, I'm gonna try to make the project all covers. So
Hmm. And Ian Martin is asking if there are any releases, but that song is released, right?
yep, that's on the Bandcamp, whatever, balkanbleeps.bandcamp.com, and that's the only one. Technically, it's a double as opposed to a single because you also have the DMG mix version in there, too.
Right. Let me get the link in chat there for you. There you go, Ian Martin and others. Be sure to follow them on Bandcamp so you can get alerts when Nikola releases 5 new tracks for you this summer. I'm really looking forward to that. That is a really cool project. And it also kind of segues naturally into some more things that we have to share. So we've had Glitchka Bits featured on Let's Listen before with your album Starry Shtetl, and you folks just keep turning out like new like singles, small releases, and stuff like that. And so most recently, and oh my god, I just love the album art that you get
It's amazing,
for
right?
Glitchka Bits. It's
Wow.
top notch, incredible, and folks, you're gonna just really love it too. But you have 2 tracks. I mean, it's essentially one track. It feels like just like
With an intro.
yeah, exactly. But this is the Rocket Hideout theme from Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. A favorite of mine personally. I grew up with the Pokemon games, so it really hits home for me. But you've just put like such an incredible twist on it with the instrumentation and the style, of course. Yeah, so you ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
All right, folks. Oh, sorry, I gotta just make sure I queue up the right album art. Yeah, okay, that looks great. Okay, folks. Well then, without any further ado, this is what is it called? Motto Mischief and Rocket Rock Out. Enjoy. Oh, oh, man. Oh, does it get better than that? I don't know. I don't know. And if so, I don't want to know. Um, that is probably one of my favorite covers of the Rocket Hideout. I mean, like, Runaway 4 does it, and I don't even like it as much as I like what you guys did with it. That's just, that's incredible. Oh my God. Yeah.
It's fun. It was it's interesting because we're as a band still all remote, so we had to learn our parts remotely and record remotely. We did do some Zoom session stuff, but it's a really, really fun track. It's hard though. It's very fast.
Yeah. Well, I think you do it faster than the original track, even.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
got to keep up that oompa oompa oompa. Yeah, that's right, Ian. Yeah, you guys nailed it for sure. Oh man, I love the little diddlin diddlin. It's just one of my favorite parts, and you guys
And
did it.
it translated so well to just having the instruments pass it off, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh man, yeah. So what else is Glitchkabits up to? Like, are you guys gonna get ready for doing any live shows, or are you working on some more arrangements that you're hoping to release soon?
so we aren't getting together in person yet. We probably will soon. We don't quite feel comfortable to do it yet, but we're all itching to do it. And in terms of releases, this one I hope will hold people over for a while. I will say, no secret, we do have a couple of singles in our back pocket, and there's some we need to tie up some loose ends on them before we would be ready to release them. Um, but you will probably hear another single or two or an EP by the end of the year. And while COVID has happened and we weren't able to get together, I did take a lot of time to write down some other random arrangements in my head. So we have a backlog of things to practice when we do meet up, and you will hear releases from us in the future. So in other words, we're still kind of on hiatus, as is maybe appropriate given the times, but we're ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so
Yeah, awesome. Well, yeah, I'd love to get you guys up to Vancouver sometime, and I mean, like, I hope that you guys have like good connections to do live stuff in Seattle too, because getting back to live performance, I mean, I don't know. For myself, that's completely where it's at. That's where the heart is, live performance and stuff like that. But we would also love to get you just like on bonus stage, like do a stream show. I mean, we've had the Nikola Whallon experience, sorry, and yeah, I've been wanting to get Glitchkabits on the stage for a while. So whenever you guys are feeling comfortable, definitely hit me up. We'd love to have you back. Yes, yeah, Ian Martin, full support. Awesome. I'm sure everybody else too. Anybody who's been listening to any of the incredible music that we've been listening to tonight will heartily agree. Yeah,
Jummel is reminding me that the pandemic is over and we won.
right. We nuked COVID from orbit. It's all over.
Yeah, that's right.
Congratulations. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Um, yeah, dude, Nicola, it's been a really fun night. Thanks for coming to be on Let's Listen. Do hope that you're having all of the success with this release. And Vegetable is tuning in now. Yes. Oh, thanks for being here, Wedge. Yeah, really enjoying all of this. Awesome. Okay, well, folks, you have the links in chat there to go and get not only Chiprock Houseparty, but also the new Balkan Bleep single, as well as the new release from Glitchkabits. We're going to be signing things off here, but again, Nicola, thank you so much for being on the show. It was really fun to share your music and to hear it all again.
Yeah, and thank you a lot. Particularly, thanks for letting us tack on the singles on the top of the album.
Yeah.
I think that was really, really awesome.
Yeah. We call it bonus content.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Awesome. Yeah, folks. If you're here like for the first time, thank you for being here. Welcome. We do Let's Listens on a pretty regular basis as beloved artists of the Bonus Stage family release their music, but we will also be doing one of our monthly concerts next Saturday, April 16th, starting at 2 p.m. Pacific time. That's 5 p.m. for you on the East Coast. Yeah, and thanks again, everybody, for being here. We'll just kind of ride out with a couple of tunes, decide if we want to do any raids, but yeah, thanks again, everybody. We'll see you around.
with the lips, I will... Oh god, oh god. Bonus stage van!